So this month for Obscure Animation, I thought it would be cool to talk about a film that, had it not come out in arguably the strongest year for animation ever, I think it would be actually really pretty well remembered. But 2009 is the year we're talking about, and the movie that I think has been forgotten by everybody but maybe hardcore animation fans is the movie 9. And in 2009, when this movie came out, we had Princess and the Frog, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Coraline, Up, and Monsters and Aliens, and I don't know, there's just a huge long list of films that came out. The Secret of the Kells came out in 2009. And this movie was created by director and animator Shane Acker, and he had a Oscar-nominated short that was based on sort of these characters and these ideas, and Tim Burton found the short at the SIGGRAPH conference, and he sort of nourished him, encouraged him, and he executive produced the film, Tim Burton. And I think it kind of feels like a bit of a love child between Tim Burton and George Miller, if you were going to say. And so this is a feature film version of his short, the Oscar-nominated short. And it is very, very, very creative. And I think it's a good example of how something can be dark and include a lot of themes that are in these dystopian stories that I don't like, but have that sort of hope and have that sort of positivity in there to make it not feel like heavy, which I don't really feel like this movie feels heavy, even though it is very sobering and is in a dark setting. Okay, so it's kind of complicated to explain. It's about this scientist. There's sort of the end of the world, and there's this machine, this fabrication machine, and so the scientist breaks down himself. It's kind of like a Horcrux in a way, into these 9 different Stitch Punks, they're called. And the Stitch Punks look like they're kind of made out of burlap, and they each have their own different kind of design and look to it, and they each have different parts of the scientist within him. So you have 9, voiced by Elijah Wood. The voice acting in this is great all around. Elijah Wood is 9. He's sort of the lead character. He is the scientist's humanity, big-heartedness, thoughtfulness, and sincerity. So he's sort of the smart one. He's the one that you're kind of rooting for. He's kind of carrying you through the story, kind of like a Luke or a Harry Potter or that kind of character. Okay, and he's the one that has the zipper down his torso. Next we have 1. This is voiced by Christopher Plummer, and if you know me at all, anything involving Christopher Plummer, I'm a fan of. I love Christopher Plummer so much. So he is cowardly, arrogant portion of the scientist. So he's sort of the leader in a way. He thinks he knows what's best. He's always kind of contradicting, ordering 9 around. It's 2, and this is voiced by Martin Landau, and he is the creative genius of the group, of the scientist personality. He's kind, delicate, old inventor. So he kind of comes into play when they need to defeat the machine in certain ways and need to kind of be creative. Next, we have 7, Jennifer Connelly. She's the only female of the Stitch Punks, and she is the fighter part of the scientist personality, and she's a rebel and a loner. So there you go. Next is 6, Crispin Glover, and he is the artistic portion of the scientist personality. He sees things that the others in the group don't see. 6's fingers are made of ink pen nibs. So he's kind of the creative one. Then 5, John C. Reilly is the healer part of the scientist personality. 5 is caring, nurturing, and the loyal, big-hearted common man. And 3 and 4 are twins, and they are the historians of the group. They are unable to speak, instead using flickering lights in their eyes to communicate with each other. They project images from their eyes to share information with the other Stitch Punks. So that's really cool. And last is 8. That's Fred Tatasciore, is the brutish ruffian from the scientist's personality. And he is a master of weapons and wields 1/2 of a scissor and a knife. So in a way, this is kind of like the group, the fellowship of the rings, kind of, if I'm just going to relate this to everybody, you know, where in the fellowship you had Legolas fulfilling one role, you had Aragorn filling one role, you had the hobbits filling one role, etc., etc. It's kind of similar to that in a way. This does sort of borrow from a lot of different mythologies. There's definitely a feeling of Mad Max. There's definitely a feeling of Beetlejuice and some other Tim Burton kind of feel. But I think it's still creative in and of itself. It's so different than any other animated film I've ever seen. And I think that these characters are, even though they're sort of archetypes by design, I think that there's sort of enough warmth in the dialogue and in their vocal performances, and in just, it keeps it kind of clipping along enough. The movie is 79 minutes, so it's not even that long. And so I never really feel like I'm bored, because it's just sort of moving along. Say in a way that it's pretty convoluted is in the story and everything, and it can get kind of confusing at times. But I think I was invested enough in sort of the characters, and it just kept me kind of going, because it's so well edited, that I was invested. It was visually interesting enough for me. It was sort of, the concepts were interesting enough. And so I really think that this is one that is worth checking out. I think it has a nice message in the end. I think the beginning is probably a little bit stronger than the ending, but I still think overall it works, and it's just so visually stunning and beautiful and different that I think that if you're an animation fan, it's definitely one that you should have seen. I feel kind of bad in a way for Shane Acker, because he really hasn't done anything else. I looked on IMDb, and he's done some, I guess, Thomas the Tank Engine shorts. Because, I don't know, this is definitely like a strong first entry, I think, as a feature film. This shows a ton of promise, and I would love to see more from him. And, you know, to see kind of what he could do with a little bit more sort of refining and buffering. I would give 9 a B. It does have problems with the convoluted story, but I like the characters, I like the world building, I like the story well enough, and it's just so creative and different. So let me know what you think of 9. Have you seen it? Do you like it? Do you think it's underrated? And if you haven't, check it out. Let me know what you think. So thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you later. Bye.